Welcome to the North American Golden Domers for Friday, June 20th. I am Roggie. I am pleased to present to you tonight a podcast of great importance. I would like to introduce our esteemed panel. Firstly, from Albany, New York, Andy, how are you tonight?
I am well. I'm glad to be back. Excited to be here on a new platform and just lots of adventures ahead.
It is good to see you, Andy. Thank you for making the time tonight to come and chat with us. Now, live from Mexico City, Rodolfo, how are you?
Good. It's always good to be back. We have a new platform now, indeed, and we'll see how it goes. So, hello to everyone.
Hello, Rodolfo. We will discuss the platform a little later on as things have changed. No bigger change than our very important announcement tonight of officially the fourth North American Golden Domer. I present to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the esteemed, the athletic, the ebullient Paul Linehan. Paul, welcome to the Brotherhood.
Thank you, Roger. And if you'd like to provide more adjectives, I'd be willing to listen at this point in time. I'm excited to be here. Slick graphics. This is very cool. It's going to be awesome. Always good to talk to you guys.
I will say, Paul, there was some hesitation, some trepidation when we started this because, as we have discussed at camp many times, the addition to a successful format sometimes is the death knell. I think we know Poochie, The Simpsons, didn't work out well. Probably the most famous one of all time was Oliver from the Brady Bunch. I mean, I didn't think anything could make Ann B. Davis look less attractive, but Oliver did it. So, welcome, Paul. Let's hope this is a big success. As it relates to the new format and the rules, we are now on YouTube, and YouTube does have specific rules as it relates to content, so we should be mindful. Just a few pointed comments for us tonight to consider. Firstly, Andy, when we trod down the road to talk about my dog's consensual relationships, you can't characterize them as you have in the past.
Agreed. Point taken.
I think we also must be mindful of telling stories which reach past the grounds of normalcy in terms of, let me say parenthetically, something about, hypothetically, a local police officer threatening to shoot the disabled.
Sure.
I don't think that's something we can go too far down the road into.
Absolutely. Be a lot less fun, but here we go.
And lastly, I have heard several times today from James Gilliard, our number one listener. It's not lost on me tonight that he's now going to be a viewer. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but James, hello? Nice to see you. Camp recap. Let's talk about that. Paul, we'll start with you. The overall experience from camp this year, how did you find it?
Roger, I think I'll speak for everyone. It's my favorite week of the year, and it's to do with the guys on this call and our listeners out there. It's the people that we get to hang out with for a week. I always talk about the shame of the geography of Notre Dame is one of its downfalls. As a student there, all of my friends came in from different places, and then they went away in different places. And I feel the same way about the 60 men that I get to spend a week with, and then we all go our separate ways. And that's the hardest part about it. But it's my favorite week of the year, and I can't believe it's over, and then we have to wait another year.
I agree. Now, I'm going to break character right now. I've tried really hard to maintain that sort of new broadcasting persona. It hurts. However, it will become clear later in the broadcast who I was trying to emulate, and I don't think anyone knows. And I'll try this every week to try a new style that finally fits, but I just can't stay with it. So I do want to thank Andy for your restraint. I know you wanted to jump through the screen and punch me. Thank you for not doing that.
No, you were about to be back down to 3 North American Golden Domers.
Andy,
and maybe 4 listeners, I think.
Exactly.
and one viewer. Andy, your overall experience.
As Paul said, best week of the year truly is one of those things that you look forward to all year. To hang out with you guys, to motivate yourself, to move, to work out, to do things, and then it just comes and goes so quick. And Rod, you pointed out many times during the week that it's going so fast, and it really does. It goes so quickly. But we had that week. It was a wonderful experience yet again. Met some new people, some new friends, and got to see, of course, a lot of older friends. So the game, well, I'm sure we'll get into, wasn't the best, but the week overall was amazing, and getting to see all you guys was terrific.
Absolutely, the thing I look forward to the most. Rodolfo, Andy talks about it being a fleeting experience, and while at the advanced age that I'm at, and Mr. Linehan is probably closing in on, he's behind me. Hopefully, we'll continue to age at the same pace, Paul. We'll be around for that, where one of us doesn't pass the other. But we know there's only so many trips around the sun we have left, and also only so many times our body will let us do what we want to do. Your fleetingness comes from a different reason, is that it's who knows how many more years you can get into the country.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, Paul and Andy just said it best. I mean, it's the best week of the year. Hanging around with old friends is great. Meeting new friends is great. And it just, I mean, I know everyone has said it, but it went really fast this year. I mean, before we knew it, it was Friday, and all the fun was over. So, yeah, I mean, and once that day comes, you start actually looking forward to next year. So that's the bad thing about camp.
Rodolfo, in the past with the podcast, the first couple seasons just being on audio, I found that you had a mystery to you, sort of a mystique, where you were this sort of Rodolfo voice in the background. You were there. People were imagining who you are. Now they can see who you are. Are you worried that some of the mystique is leaving?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I could wear a mask still, but
The Mexican wrestler mask.
the Mexican
please.
wrestler mask, yeah, of course.
Sometimes the jokes just write themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, not much to add as relates to the experience. Another fantastic year there. Personal highlights. Andy, we'll start with you. What was your personal highlight other than getting to spend time with me?
Well, you took it. I mean, that was going to be it. But getting to meet and be around the Rocket, that was pretty cool. He was a childhood hero. The reason I wore the number 25, and my brother wore the number 25, my sister wore the number 25 all through high school. So that was pretty cool to get to be around him a little more than I ever had been before.
Rodolfo?
For me, the highlights it's got to be hanging out with you guys. I mean, certainly we arrived earlier on the week, and we had to spend the weekend together, and that was something special. Thanks to Paul, who took his condo and opened it up for us, and we had a great time there. I mean, just hanging around with you guys, it's incredible. And the one thing I'll never forget is Paul's face when we were heading to different on Monday when he said, "This is Christmas." I'll never forget his face when he said that. And the other thing is James Cranny, Nooks and Cranny. He's always there with a smile. I mean, he can't wipe his smile out of his face, and that says it all. I mean, just hanging around with people that really enjoy going there, it's the best. Absolutely.
Two add-ons to that before you go, Paul. Paul, no comment needed, but I suspect that when you were contemplating buying the condo, you didn't say to your wife that someday we'll have a Mexican and a Canadian staying with us. And one of my highlights for camp was the final night there in the bar, and finding out that James Cranny's dad, who's bigger than James and looks like a longshoreman, but is a very sweet man, and every 2 minutes, me, this little tiny Canadian, would come up to him and make fun of a different Boston Bruin, like Brad Park is a sissy, or Cam Neely ate someone, and or Johnny Busick sucks, and Nook said to me after, he said, "You were 1 or 2 away from getting bopped, but he was amused generally by it. Paul, what was your highlight?
This is the part where I'm supposed to agree with all of you guys and say having you at the place and being with all you guys. But I mean, I am a 56-year-old man that led a touchdown drive, so that's what I'm going with. I'm not going to be humble here. I did. So y'all saw it. It was awesome. That's all I got.
It was a good one. It was well done. Another favorite of mine it had to be this year because of circumstance, and I won't go into it here, but it's less and less about the game for me, but it's more and more about the others. And I was so delighted. My heart was so full at the banquet, seeing the guys get their rings and seeing the guys get their jackets and just being thrilled like it's Christmas. That's really cool. I enjoyed that to no end. Another highlight of mine was I do want to do a shout out to 4 VIPs that I met at camp. Bingo, Harley, Zoe, and Sammy. You're very, very good dogs. I miss you. Thank you for spending your time with me. And Paul, I don't know if I told you this story, but this morning, and it's not really showing here. I don't know what's going on there, but I did. I washed my hair with the dog shampoo this morning. It didn't do a thing for my hair, but Paul, I feel like a very good boy. I'm a very good boy.
You are a very good boy, Roger.
Very good.
Well, that about wraps it up. So
the board's still there, Andy. Have you noticed?
The Nielsen ratings are
right there.
But by the way, another thing about the board, I received several texts today from James Gilliard, excited that we're going on YouTube so he could watch us. And he asked me if this is there, and then he literally sent me a note saying, if it's still there, he's going to pay my wife. He sent her some money to pay her to paint it in Michigan blue. And I'm going, how do you know? How will you know? I mean, but how do you know what blue is? Sorry. National Treasures, Andy. You get to start the season, and this was part of your contract. And just to go behind the scenes a bit, this was tough. This was a tough thing to get Paul added to this. Andy had some concerns about some collusion. We truly felt the podcast needed more America. Dolph and I are acquiescing, saying we're not enough. America, we want more Americans. Andy had a different concern. Andy's concern was something about some subterfuge, and perhaps we were trying to undermine you or move you out. Are you okay now with everything? Because it took a lot of talking at camp to get through to this point.
No, I have thought about it a lot since camp, even up through today. I'm still thinking this is a setup. They're just getting the other American on board, get them up to speed, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, Andy, we forgot to tell you we're recording, or, oh, Andy, we can only have 3 people on tonight, so sorry. It's a slippery slope that I see, but I'm okay with it because my national treasure is Paul Linehan. I mean, the consummate gentleman, Notre Dame grad, Paul Esquire, if you will, and opened his home to us. I don't want to say too much about his philanthropy, but doing some very impressive things, and I'm happy to be in Paul's court and to be a friend. So, Paul, you are my personal national treasure.
Wow. Thank you, Andy. That in a show that normally lacks sincerity, that was incredible, and I did not see that coming.
Sure.
Now crossing off 4th of July and writing Andy Fowler as my
it's hard to. No one would want to argue with that. I mean, Paul, you are top 3, and I'm only picking 2 others because I have to for the sake of your humility. Best human beings in the world. And I'm honored to be your friend, and I find it's one of those things where I think there's a long play in effect, because when a guy like Paul Linehan is your friend, you feel great about yourself, but you're also going, like, what's the deal? Like, doesn't he know who I am? But thank you, Paul. I agree with Andy's national treasure, one of the few that I have.
Agree.
Oh, and by the way, Andy, when I was sleeping in Paul's little nook, looking over at you, you curled up in a cute little ball at night, Andy.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was more of a protective posture, I think.
Fair play. Fair play. Dolph, Mexico's national treasure.
Okay. Well, this is a new era for us. We're starting to have video on this, so I'm going to talk about food again. Tacos al pastor, which is a very common uh, dish down here, and there are many places that serve it real good, and it's served with cilantro and onion and salsa, and it's one great dish to come. Whenever you come down here, you have to try them out. It's pork, and it's very good.
Now, Dolph, one could argue that most of your time at camp is either spent looking for a nap or looking angry that you haven't found a nap. There was no more particularly angry day that you had at camp that one day that the taco truck, the South Bend taco truck arrived, and all of us gringos are enjoying the tacos, talking about how great they are. You weren't a fan.
Well, I mean, they were okay. I couldn't say they were bad. They were pretty good, actually. But I mean, they're we have better down here.
Pretty good for American, I think.
Exactly, pretty good for Americans, for gringos, as Roger puts it.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, my national treasure, Andy. I'm not following you for the sake of following you, but when I was thinking of all things Canadian and all things that make me really happy, my national treasure is George Davis. I mean, watching George at camp, his, his childlike enthusiasm,
Yeah.
the energy he brought to that night alone when he knew Rocket was in the building, and he could spend so much time. Like when I will share the pictures at some point when he gave that manifesto to Rocket and said, "Please write this on the helmet," and Rocket did.
Manifesto.
It was a 25-minute signing. Rocket took a Gatorade break. But, but the enthusiasm for George, seeing that, it was just love. It was lovely energy. And then the true reason George is my national treasure, because after George had broken the seal and we all had sort of, okay, let's go talk to Rocket, he was so proud of us, like a proud father or a proud mother who kicked his babies out of the nest, and we went and got autographs. So George, your love, your energy. I mean, you were the first man to get Father Nate to sign something.
Oh, yeah.
We have a picture of that.
Ever.
George, you're Canada's national treasure. Canada needs more like George Davis.
Agree.
Paul, you're next. I don't know how you follow that, but what's an American national treasure?
After Andy and your mine's going to seem very American, and in ways than one, because mine is the 4th of July as it's coming up, and it was always one of my favorite holidays because it would sometimes fall in the middle of the week, so you'd get a day off in the middle of the week. You don't have to buy anyone any presents. You don't have the obligation of getting presents from anyone and all this other stuff, but you just get to sit around and watch baseball and eat and watch fireworks. Very simple time. It's like a slow down day in the middle of July. I like fireworks at the beach. It's a good day for me. So that I feel very inadequate after Andy's glowing speech and then you talking about George. I'm more on the taco train there with my man Rodolfo. So I like to eat hot dogs on the 4th of July and watch fireworks. So it's a very simple American thing.
I'm going to say this phrase, Andy. It's not what you think it is. It's not. It's Shakespeare, Andy. But I want to let you know that you are hoist by your own petard. Okay. In that, we will use your eloquent sort of endorsement of Paul Linehan. Should there be a contract squabble later on down the road?
Remember, I've always said that Andy and I are going to play the heels, and in the end, just like in true wrestling form, we'll be standing it.
July 4th is nice. Do you know why Canada's falls on? I know this is a surprise to Andy. July 1st. Do you know why Canada Day is July 1st?
No, I don't. Why?
It's the only way we can get any fireworks before you guys shoot them all off. So a few sparklers left. So, Interesting fact about camp I forgot to mention. I don't know if you saw this at one point in the third quarter, Paul. I got in a fight. I don't like to broadcast this because I'm a gentleman. I'm a statesman. I'm
I
a
love
man
it.
who loves love. But I got in a fight with numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. The odds were against me.
Mm,
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
really well done. Really well done.
You telegraphed that like a certain quarterback we all knows passes.
There's a few. There's a few. We're not naming any here. Notre Dame season, a look ahead. Just a very quick look ahead because we are going to have a full preview show. We will also do our best to our listeners, so the four of us will negotiate in advance as to our regular time slot once the season comes along. But we will have a preview show sometime this summer once we can get everyone together. But we will broadcast that, and you will see that noted on our Facebook and Twitter page. So the look ahead, I'm going to start with you, Rodolfo. The question simply was the Miami and A&M game. There's 3 weeks, 2 games. What do you, if you had to bet right now, what's our record after those first 2 games? How do you think they go?
2-0. Yeah, I think we beat the convicts. Close score, but then the A&M game, I don't think it'll be close.
Paul.
I do not like the way this schedule unfolded. I don't. Of all the years that we've either had an experienced quarterback or an experienced transfer quarterback, in that first game means the world. And then in the first game on the road, I think it means the world too. Everything in me, bleeds green. So I'm going to say 2-0, but I'm very uncomfortable with the first game. I think Rodolfo's right on the second game, though. No matter the result of the first game, whether we do go down there and make a statement or we don't, I still think we do a little bit. Because one game under our belt and that extra week, said the best improvement for any college football team is between week 1 and week 2, and we get 2 weeks to do it. So yeah, I do think we put a hurting on the Aggies in week 2. Andy.
I have to agree with my friends here. I think we're going to be 2-0. I think the Miami game will be tough for the obvious reasons that it's the first game out of the gate. You got an untested CJ Carr, most likely running our offense. Defensively, I think we'll do well. I think we got enough, besides Jordan Botelho, we got enough people coming back to give us a little confidence. But it won't be an easy game, but I think we'll get through it. And then we'll go down and we'll take care of A&M without any issues. So I see us 2-0 after the first 2 games.
I do too, and we'll talk a bit more about position groups a little later in the game and why I think that is. So I'll talk about my thoughts around that a little later. But other quick question here: do we have the same quarterback for both games, and who is it? Paul.
Yeah, I have this under my most intriguing players section that we're going to be talking about later. And I just have it written down as QBs because I don't think anyone knows yet. I think it's we've heard some rumblings that it's closer than anyone thinks. If that's blowing smoke, who knows what disinformation we're trying to get out there. Sure. We all respect our coaching staff to know that they'll pick the right person. So I think we will have the same quarterback in both games, barring an injury or some unforeseen, circumstance. I just don't know if anyone knows who that is yet.
Andy knows.
Except for Andy.
I felt like this last year, but I think CJ Carr's our guy, and I think he's going to do really well. So I think, absent some unfortunate circumstance, I think CJ Carr will be the starter. Whether he stays the starter will be another story. But
so, Rodolfo, I'm going to talk slowly. I'm going to get to you in a second, Paul. While I'm asking Rodolfo his question, and he answers it, can you research what CJ stands for? I have no clue. Rodolfo, what do you think? Who's our quarterback?
When Angeli left after the blue and gold game, everything pointed to CJ Carr, and I still believe he's going to be a starter, and he'll get us through both games, I'm pretty sure.
without much question. Paul, I'm really hoping it's Cornelius.
Curtis Jason Carr.
Okay.
Curtis
That's,
Jason.
see, this is.
Cornelius.
I thought there was a chance.
Okay.
But no, I don't think anyone knew that, Paul. And tonight, as the new American on the podcast, you're bringing breaking news to everyone.
Mhm.
I may go with Kurt Carr from this point on. I may just me. I know I'm tilting at windmills here, but I think I'm going to start something tonight. It's Kurt Carr.
Andy, and I don't know the answer to this. And I know you've got like George tracking the team where they are at all times.
Yeah.
You've been tracking this issue. Is Garrett back this year? Do we have him back?
Oh, I haven't given it much thought. I'm really in two camps on this one. I can't stand him, but at the same time, he gives us so much to talk about that that's that added element that I think we almost need him back, whether or not we want him back.
Yeah, true. All right, we'll see. I think he's back, but I guess we'll see. Let's talk about what's the deal with Mexico. I'm going to come in hot. You made an offhand comment at camp. And you know what? It was a sweet, vulnerable moment from you. I don't know if you remember it. You were at breakfast. You had just received your breakfast fajita, whatever it is you eat. And you
Fuzzy
leaned
Zeller
in.
over here.
And we were talking about Fuzzy Zeller. Wow.
Whatever it is you eat. Yeah.
Wow, Paul. Andy, he's pairing up with you nicely. This is going to be a good combination. It's going to work.
That's why I respect him so much.
And we were watching something on the news, and it referred to us as California, and you just mumbled to me, "That used to be ours." What's the deal? Why'd you give up California so easily?
We needed the money,
Okay.
basically.
Andy, do you have a question for Mexico?
True fact.
Okay.
Rodolfo, what's the deal with the avocado situation?
Can you deepen this thing, please?
Why are you so proud of them?
Oh, because they're delicious. I mean,
Okay. Well, they're
That's
not
it.
that delicious. They're okay, but
they're just okay.
they're a little bland.
Okay, maybe they take a while to get to New York. So
And Rodolfo, can I take this one for you in response to Andy?
absolutely,
Andy, they're called avocados.
avocados.
Paul, do you have something for our friend on the hot seat in Mexico?
I do. I was reading up for doing my homework here, and I was surprised to learn that Mexico drinks more Coca-Cola than any nation on earth, which surprised me because I thought it would, of course, be us. And I don't like it when we're not number one. So explain yourself.
No, it is. This is unfortunately true. I mean, a lot of people drink Coke very weird times. I mean, they have it with breakfast, they have it at lunch, they have it at dinner. So yeah, there's not a lot we can say, but that's absolutely true. And we're starting to have obesity problems down here. So yeah, they have a campaign down here that restricts.
Isn't yours more syrupy or sugary than the American?
It
version
is
too?
more sugar. It
Yeah.
is more sugary. Yeah. It is.
Right. So-
What was
so-
the genesis of that becoming like the national drink?
It's probably the 70s when I was a kid.
Okay.
They had, because we had a lot of Pepsi drinkers back then also. But at some point, Coke just blew away Pepsi. And I mean, we have Pepsi here too, but everybody goes with Coke.
Paul, do we need to understand the marketing of this? Mexico, Coke.
Exactly.
Got it.
Sure.
I'm very nervous now. I'm being called Fuzzy Zeller. That's... Okay, Canada. Oh, you can start with Canada.
Sure. What's the deal with you not being able to win the Stanley Cup since 1993? And the fact that an American team has won the Grey Cup in the interim time period might be my favorite fact of all those.
Yeah, it's shameful. It truly is shameful. Yeah, I mean, the only saving grace which most Canadians plant the flag on right now is the fact that the majority of players in any team are Canadian. That helps a little bit, but once the Maple Leafs are out, hockey's dead to me. So it's a wound that's it's well healed over at this point, well scabbed over. But Andy, you have something for Canada? Wildfire's not on your mind this year?
You know, that's the low-hanging fruit here. I did think about it, but why do Canadians, or do they, I shouldn't say why, do they feel that the term Canuck is offensive or derogatory?
I think it just sounds stupid. Canadian sounds more eloquent and more worldly. Canuck just sounds hoserish, like we're,
But is
Bob
it,
and Doug
is it,
McKenzie.
would you
You
consider
named
it
the
an
sports
insult?
team after it.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
It's a sort of a nickname. I'm not a big fan of it, but yeah.
Would you consider it an insult?
I wouldn't, but if I called you a Yank, I mean, I know you're familiar with Yanks, but is that are you offended if I call you Yank?
I am not, no.
So it's like the same thing, just a
Okay.
bad sort of mashup of the name. Rodolfo, you have anything for Canada before we can turn our attention to the U.S.?
I do. Could you explain what's the meaning of pencil crayons? Are they just regular crayons, or why do you call them pencil crayons?
Good God, what research do you have down there? They're pencils that they're colored pencils, so you can color your coloring book with like pencils in color.
Okay, so there's no weird combination between the two of them?
No, there's not
Oh, okay,
Crayola.
okay.
No
Something.
wax. No
Yeah,
wax.
no wax pencils.
No wax, exactly. I mean, that's what I would think.
No. And I believe the manufacturer for most of those is a company called Laurentian. So if you want good pencil crayons, that's the way to go.
Okay.
Rodolfo, I'll let you go first and ask our American friends. Since you're now a panel, you guys can decide. One can field the question. You both can step in. Matters not to us. We embrace more America.
Most Americans are lockstep on every issue, so I'm sure we'll have the same.
I think you two are. I think we're safe. So, Rodolfo, what's your question for them?
Actually, I think I've asked this one before, but I don't know if Paul was in this. I mean, what's the deal with all those medicine ads in television? I mean, no other country in the world has that many ads for one medicine.
Well, we like to spend money on pharmaceuticals, and we're a sickly nation. That's my only.
Yeah, there's no witty repartee here. The truth, it's true. They are on all the time. Some of them are more catchy than others. They're getting a little better, if nothing else.
Yeah. They even have good jingles,
sing the
right?
Guardian song if you guys would like.
Oh yeah, that's right. They have good jingles. Yeah.
One of my personal favorites is when they say if say the drug name, and they have to say if you're allergic to Eliquis, don't take Eliquis. Well, thank you for that medical.
Oh
advice.
yeah, they always say like it may cause death. Okay, then I'm taking that one for
One
sure.
of the side effects is death.
Exactly.
Interesting story. My dog, Wilco, I was reading his memoirs. He was having problems in the romance department. This is a medicine thing. He was having problems in the romance department. So he went to see the family doctor who prescribed doggy Viagra. Now, didn't work. And so Wilco, being a good Canadian dog, had an appointment, went back and saw the doctor, and wasn't angry. He just said, Doc, he put the pills on the table, and, nothing happened. And Doc said, I'm really sorry. I mean, Wilco, what do you think the problem was? Wilco said, I don't know. No hard feelings.
Oh, come on.
Paul, I would originally think that this question, thank you, Paul. I would originally.
I'm ashamed that I didn't know the answer to that one before you hit it. That's right. That's how I judge myself with your jokes, Raj. Like I usually see it coming, and if I don't, I'm embarrassed. And right now, I'm embarrassed.
I see we have Max Headroom joining us. Andy. Andy, probably right. These are on, so we can't see the true color of your eyes and the true love in your eyes for this next question. Paul, normally I would think that Andy would be the firebrand on this one, but I've learned enough to know about you that you're very, very proudly American, so much so that you've made it clear to me that Canadians are still considering your offer. But
they're considering.
We're not.
They're considering.
Andy, next year you turn 250 years old. I can only imagine that that's going to be a quiet little sort of gathering with some quiche and quiet conversation. Some. I can't imagine you're going to make a big deal about it. But if you do, don't you think 250 years, it's maybe time to make up with the king?
Me personally, I reserve the right to not make up with the king. As a nation, 250 years is going to be Roger. You're going to want that golden dome for what we're going to do on our 250th birthday, because we're going to be throwing stuff and it's going to be a
Yeah.
sight.
Yeah, the wildfires will be pushed back at that point in time.
We are going to be at Camp Rodolfo 1 month prior to their 250th birthday next year. Just before war.
It may be a month-long celebration. You may be here in the middle of it. I mean,
Sure.
I know they're considering that.
Paul, you're a man of travel, a man of culture. You've been to England. Are you okay with the king?
I mean, it doesn't affect the king. Does not affect us anymore. Like I don't think
God.
I don't think he's putting tariffs on us or anything like that, or the Tea Party taxes and anything like that. I think he knows better. They learned their lesson 250 years ago.
Noted.
You may want to consider that.
Noted.
Yeah,
We're now going to go
absolutely.
into a little personal segment. I think our audience has yearned to learn more about us. These are important segments. The most important one that people ask about is Ask Andy. So we're going to start asking Andy. I'm going to start. I have a few. If there's any others, you can go in, but I'll start one and then you guys jump in. Andy, if I decided that here in my home studio in North Bend in Toronto, Canada, if I decided to make a 164th fantasy camp, would you assist me? Could I use you as a consultant?
Absolutely. It's almost an obligation.
Good to know. Thank you. And
How
one other question.
How tall would Roggie be in a 164th?
I think you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for teeing that one up for the ball on the tee for your son. Yeah.
Exactly.
Andy, one more question
America.
before we move on, because I may not be able to last if I don't know this. But Andy, we've known each other for a long time. I consider you a very dear friend, a very, very close and dear friend. I love you. I think you're wonderful. You're one of the guys that I honestly want to be more like. Andy, where do I rank in terms of your friends? Am I in the top 5? Top 10?
Well, in regards to friends who send me AI generated cartoons, you're definitely at the top. Definitely at the top.
You love AI, don't you, Andy?
I really do.
We'll loop back at a less uncomfortable time. Maybe you can give this one thought, Andy. If you can rank me, I know you probably got a list. Of all the people on this podcast, you probably have a list at your desk of your friends in order.
He has a list of the people on this podcast in order, I think.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Andy, gentlemen?
Beautiful.
Do you have a camping trip this year, Andy? I know you love those. So okay.
No, there will be no trips to the Great North this year. We've kind of learned our lesson, so we've got to stop thinking that these things are going to turn out better than they do, and they never turn out well. So we just decided to stop it.
Paul, do you have a question for him? If not, I have a closing one.
I do not. Andy and I are.
I know you've got a deal. You got a side deal.
I didn't. Those are your words. Those are your words, not mine.
Andy, just a quick question. When you're watching a sporting event on TV and in the closed caption of the little corner, you see the person signing the national anthem, is your hand on your holster?
No, it's not a triggering event for me. So I've made my peace with it. It was 22 years ago. I'm okay.
All right. Dolph, what grinds your gears? This is another episode, Dolph, where people are saying they need more grinding from Dolph. They want Dolph to grind.
You want Dolph to grind all over him.
Yeah.
Your last few have been pretty tepid.
I can do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, one thing that really grinds me is cigarette smoke. I mean, that's not very nice. People that they think they own the world when they smoke a cigarette and they throw the smoke all over you. It's horrible. I just can't stand them. And yeah, the funny thing is, I like cigar smoke a lot better. Cigar smoke, it's a lot. That one I like. It smells good, but cigarette smoke, no thanks.
Dolph, even worse than those guys are the vapors who think just because
Oh
it's vape,
yeah,
they can
that's
do
it.
it
Yeah, I
anywhere,
forgot
anytime.
completely about those, but yeah, you're right
And
about
I've never
those.
seen, I've seen vapors walk down the street with what appear to be giant sex toys and holding them and smoking them. You don't look cool, guys. There's no way a vapor ever looks cool.
Exactly.
Especially when it's like strawberry.
Yeah, exactly.
You're real hardened
Well,
criminals there, fellas.
well, I don't know about that, but we'll talk about my macho tip in a bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Paul,
Oh,
Preview.
Paul, Paul, one of the things we love about you is you have so many wonderful stories. We learned that in Miami. We learned that on the road with you. We learned that during camp. And the Notre Dame stories are the best. Paul, please, we're going to curl up right now. Tell us a Notre Dame story, Paul.
Yes, I'm excited about this segment, Raj. I think I can get a full season out of these, but and I think I said it at camp, and I said it to several groups, but I feel like sometimes I'm the Forrest Gump of Notre Dame. I really never accomplished anything on my own, but I was around when a lot of things happened. Like it was never directly me. I never played in a game. I never did any of these things, or I never was directly in a story, but I was like the background guy in a lot of these things. Much like someone compared Rudy to being the Pete Rose of Notre Dame, which I thought was hilarious. I don't remember which one of you guys did it, but was that you,
That
right?
was me. Yeah, he very much had a Pete Rose vibe. Yeah.
That was fantastic. So that's the way I look at this segment. But and I do have some funny stories to tell, but my first story will take a little more serious note on. And I was a freshman in high school, and I made my first trip to Notre Dame. It was not for a football weekend; it was for a basketball weekend, and it was more my parents' idea than mine. I was 14 years old. I didn't, like, oh, I'll go to a basketball game, and I think I had done well in school up until that point, but that's a turn. Freshman year of high school is a big turning point, and I think my parents were trying to show me the promised land or whatever their goal was. So we went up there for a Saturday, and the weather was perfect, of course, and the sun was out, and there were people everywhere, and the school spirit was the thing that I picked up on right away. Like, just like if you go up to Notre Dame now, 90% of the students were wearing Notre Dame clothes. Like it was like we know where you are, guys, but they still were wearing it. We went to that basketball game, and back then it was Digger and David Rivers, and it was a great team. John Sluby, but the place was just electric, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be part of this. And we went on the tours, and you did the Basilica, and everything was just hitting me real hard. So then the next day we went and I had an actual official tour where I walked around with a guide, and then we were invited into the administration building where someone from the admissions office was talking to you about what it would take to get in here and what it is. And I was like spellbound. I was going to go home and study. And I was like, this is, what do I have to do? I'll do anything. What do I have to do? But during the course of that event, I saw a piece of paper that showed how much it cost to go to Notre Dame. And I immediately shut down because I knew that wasn't something that I wanted to do or put my parents through or anything like that. And we were walking around afterwards, and I was like, all my enthusiasm was gone, and they didn't know what was going on. And they're like, what happened in there? Like, you don't think you can do it? You don't think you'll get the grade? And I was like, I was hesitant, and then I finally told him, and my dad pulled me aside, and I still get teary-eyed talking about this. He looked me right in the eye, and he goes, if you get in, I'll get you out. And I've told that story many times, and I tear up every time. And with all the stuff I do at Notre Dame now, the first thing I always do is go over the grotto and light a candle for my dad and remember that moment. And I think it changed my whole life. So sorry to get kicked off on my first episode, but I promise future stories will be much more fun and entertaining, but I wanted to go back to where it all started. So.
But that's the best Notre Dame story, and that's, as we know,
great.
Yeah. We know what makes the place special, and it's that. So, yeah. Well done. I am now going to shift gears, and the segment, I really couldn't find a segment that I thought would fit me. I tried last time my favorite short person. I mentioned Paul Williams. After Tattoo and Danny DeVito, I knew I was going to be out of people. So I thought the way to go would be to do something that is second nature to me, is to tell a macho story, to give the lads out there a tip to help them pull the babes, to help them have more of a Burt Reynolds vibe to their game, and that's why I'm here. So tonight's macho tip of the day from Roggie is one word: lavender.
Mm.
You can have it at night as a bath. It soothes you into the evening. It calms you. It helps you get a good night's sleep. Pillow mist in the morning on your pillows, lavender pillow mist. If you put it on before bed, guys, too strong, too strong. Morning, let it settle. And then just lastly, the color lavender, to wear it anywhere. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about the world. But when you have the pipes just bursting out, and guys know not to mess with you, but the chicks say, you know what? Guys say, I want to be like him. Chicks say, I want to be with him. And so take these to the bank. Raji's macho tip of the day.
You can make tea out of it too.
Yes. I believe you used that shampoo at my condo that week too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got you
Oh,
so excited.
goodness. Oh, goodness. Paul, I was so excited. Well, I shouldn't say. I was so pleased when I got into the shower and saw that saw that your shampoo, and like I do most, I don't know why I do this, but I had to read the instructions in case this was some sort of special American shampoo. So I read it, and it told me that my tresses would flow, and they sort of are. So I had tresses while I was at camp. So Paul, thank you. Please find out where your people buy that shampoo and let me know.
Yes, my people. Yes, my daughters. Yes. Okay.
Let's loop back to the Notre Dame 2025 season. Just another quick peek, another quick start about what three players do you think intrigue you the most about this coming year? We will start with Andy. It'd be interesting to see between we'll name 12 here, how many we have the same, probably a few. But Andy, let's start with you. Who are the three who intrigue you the most?
Well, not to be cliche, but I think it's going to be CJ Carr. I'm very interested just to see how he does. I have this. I've built him up quite a bit in my own mind, so hopefully he lives up to it. So he would be. I think he would be my top one that I'm most intrigued about. And probably one of the portal receivers that we got. I'm trying to think. Is it Malachi Fields from Virginia? I think he's. I'm most interested just to see him get out there and perform and see how he stacks up and how he makes our current receivers, how he makes them look. And a third, we're doing three. I'll have to come back to me on that one if you don't mind.
That's fine. Dolph, your three.
Well, it's got to be CJ Carr. Absolutely. We haven't seen a lot of him, but so we'll see. Eli Reardon also, the tight end. I think I want to see if he has a monster year, like I don't know, something similar to Michael Mayer a few years back. And my last one would be, this one's hard to pronounce. Number 44, Junior Tuhamaka. Yeah, he's very good. I mean, we saw what he did in the playoffs, and I think we need him to have a big year for us.
Now you learn just how hard Jason Garrett's job is.
Oh yeah, it is. It is hard. Tuhalamaka.
Well, I left Boo Boo Car off my list, although I just like saying the name Boo Boo Car as much as I can. It's one of the fun things to do. My three are, I think, Carr. I love Thor. I think Thor is just. I want Thor, Jimmy, to have a great year. I love him so much. So Thor intrigues me. And then lastly, I think Snead is going to be a powerhouse, violent Manti Te'o difference maker this year. That's my intriguing players. Paul, your three.
Yes, my number one for the third consecutive year is Jalen Snead, and this time we're really serious. He really started to flash at the end of last year. It will be interesting with the new defensive coordinator, Chris Ash, and what he does with Jalen. But I think, I know we've heard that he's not changing much up on the defense, but I think Jalen finally mentally, and as far as the speed of the game goes and recognizing his assignments in those playoff games, he was a difference maker. It was the difference maker we've been looking to for 3 years. And so he's number 1 on my list. Number 2 is another playoff phenom, Jaden Greathouse. Came on so heavy at the end of last year. And I think part of it was, he was great. But I also think part of it was that Riley got confident in giving him 50-50 balls, and he had proven that. So I think if it's CJ Carr or whoever it is, I think they'll be more confident to let him go up and beat people one-on-one. Like if he's one-on-one, we're throwing it. We heard that, right? And then my third one I just listed as QBs because I don't know who it's going to be yet, but it's going to determine the entire season. That position will determine our entire season.
Yeah, Paul, it's interesting you mentioned Greathouse because I sort of think that this year with the offensive line being in solid shape, I think with the improved wide receiver core and the tight end core being solid and the running back room being great, I'm hoping that our QB doesn't need to be the difference maker in the first couple games. Yes. I think it's so solid around him and just make good decisions, right?
Isn't it interesting that we just named 12? We all had 3 guys. I know Andy's holding one back, so he could ruin my whole speech here, but we have a Heisman Trophy contender that did not get mentioned by any of us. And I think that's partially because of the way you phrase it, intriguing, right? I don't think he's just awesome. Like I don't think there's questions around him. Intriguing is like, I really think this is Snead's year, but he, sometimes we'll see how it goes. I really think Greathouse is coming on, but we'll see how it goes. And of course, we don't know. Jeremiah Love is going to be a stud. Like there's not even, but the fact that none of us even mentioned him with what he did last year, with a better offensive line coming back, and perhaps a little more freedom. The way we're going to run the offense, I think with a bigger armed quarterback or not a run first quarterback, depending. Like I said, depending. I think it's amazing that none of us said him.
Yeah, well, the word intriguing was heavy for him. I mean, I took him as a taken, right? I mean, he's gonna have a great year.
Yeah.
So I had to dive a little deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the pedantics on that, Rodolfo. I appreciate it. Andy, who's your last one? And then my question to you as a follow-up is, with the EA Sports college football game coming out in about a week and a half, are you and Drew set for another big season?
My third is going to be Drake Bowen. I think he's going to be, you saw him at the end of last year really coming into his own. I'm assuming he's going to take a pretty extreme leadership role and just continue on that trajectory. So he's my third. As far as there's breaking news on the EA Sports college football scene. Recently played Drew, and it was the day after I got back from camp, and he beat me 95-20.
Someone's been practicing.
Oh, were you Rutgers?
I was the Irish, of course, and he was Oregon, and I was trying. I was not going easy on him, and he even asked me. He goes, "Are you going easy on me?" I said, "No, buddy. I don't know what's going on, but
I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
It is a great moment when the son passes the father. We just didn't think it would be this early, Andy.
I know.
Have you played since?
We have not. I'm a little afraid, honestly.
Not to be the old man keeping you off my lawn or anything, but remember that those great moments used to be when you beat your dad at an actual sport. Like, Now it's video games. Like I can't imagine my dad ever playing a video game with me. But the first time I dropped a hook shot over him, I remember that. You're like, you're not swatting this anymore, old man. Yeah.
So Andy, knowing you and how competitive you are, how frustrated were you with what happened, and how delighted was Drew? And I suspect your anger, your frustration was probably about more how happy he was with the whole thing. Or was he just laid back and cool?
He was not laid back and cool.
Well, you did send us a picture of him crying last year after you beat him. So he did have a little bit coming. I mean, we all have that photo.
And rightfully so. I should have sent you a picture of him joyful and earning a victory, but I didn't.
Or you crying on the floor.
I was not happy. I was actually quite taken back. Like I was shocked. He had me. He had my number all game.
Wow.
So at 95-20, he's not taking a knee in the fourth. He's piling it on.
No, he's not punting. He's going for 2 every time. And I couldn't stop him. He blitzed every single play, and I knew he was blitzing, and I still couldn't get away from him.
Have you been practicing since then?
I have not, but I will be.
Okay.
I will be.
That's what I thought.
This story makes my day. Thank you. I'm so happy. We'll now switch to random questions. Dolph, you get to ask us any question you want. We have to answer. We don't have to answer honestly, but we should answer.
Okay.
Dolph, what's your random question of the group?
If you had one concert in your lifetime, which one would it be? And the answer cannot be Vanilla Ice. One concert in your lifetime.
Just one. You only get to pick one. It's
One
not
of the
you haven't
concerts.
seen yet. It's just you got to go with
One.
for
One. Yeah, I don't care if you've seen them.
I'll go first on this one, and I'm not going to pick concerts that I've already actually been to, but with all the news lately, seeing the Beach Boys in the 60s would have been one of the coolest things. Like, I probably could have seen them in the 90s, and it still would have been cool, but to see them actually in their heyday when they were making Pet Sounds and all that other stuff would have been phenomenal, unforgettable experience.
Andy, can I guess yours?
You can, but you're never going to guess it.
Barbara Mandrell.
Close. It was Barry Manilow. No, it's. I'm going to go with Billy Joel.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Dolph, I'm gonna have to go with the Who. I've never seen the Who. I'm hoping to see them in September when they come here, if they still make it. Mr. Townsend's making noise all summer about not wanting to do this anymore. Just thanks, Pete. You're really selling it for me. But I'd like to see the Who in their prime, with Keith Moon on the drums. But what about you, Dolph?
It's Pink Floyd in 1976, the Animals tour, probably at the Oakland Coliseum.
I thought you'd go with Yes, because you really like those guys.
Yeah, I like Yes, but I've seen Yes enough. So,
Okay. Paul, what's your question for us?
I hold on. Please come back to me. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Andy, what's your question for us?
If you could be an American for a day, what would you do?
He's considering it.
That's a trap, because I think if we agree that we might be. So I'm being. You know what? I would. What would I do if I was an American for a day?
Rodolfo?
I would move to South Bend, Indiana.
There you go.
Fair. That's easy enough.
I would likely, probably a good thought there, Rodolfo. I'd likely take up residence in Santa Rosa at the Charles Schultz Museum and just proudly declare I'm an American and I love Snoopy. What about you, Andy? What would you do if you're an American for a day?
Andy and I are blessed enough to not have to answer this question.
We are
exempt
blessed.
from that.
We are
So
blessed.
I'm going to leave you for last, Paul.
I'm ready now. I'm sorry, I just lost something for a second. So.
All right, you go, Paul. I'll go last because I think mine is a vulnerable one, and I think I should go last.
Yeah, mine's not a vulnerable one. What is the worst hairstyle that you've ever had?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Raj, perfect timing.
Yeah.
I really don't know what this is up here, but I'm happy with it. I'm going with it. One of my proudest moments of camp, and again, these macho tips, I'm coming back to the macho tip, but we've all seen Jay Strong. I mean, Jay Strong is, when you look up the definition of man, it's not Jay. When you look man's man, it's Jay. Mountain man, but full of love. And I'll never forget him in the locker room come to me and goes, Roggie, can I borrow your Australian moose? This is outstanding. A, he knows I have Australian moose, and secondly, Jay wants my moose. So yeah, even though this is the worst haircut ever, Jay Strong with my Australian moose. What about you, Dolph? I mean, your Krusty the Clown sort of motif came in hard at the camp this year.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying that was the inspiration for the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks for that, Paul.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I've always had the same sort of style in my hair. So yeah, I guess I never changed anything drastically.
Andy?
My guess would be there's probably been a couple, but the one that comes to mind is a photo of me that I shared with you at camp from
Oh yeah.
7th grade. Yeah.
Do you have that you can show to our viewers?
I don't because it's on the very phone that I'm currently recording on, so I'm unable to show you. Sorry.
I'm going to ask. I'm going to work as hard as I can in the next several months and procure pictures from our past. And the what's the deal with? We'll turn into a photo of each of us at different stages of our life where we have to speak to it. Andy, that photo. If anyone has that photo, it is the Zapruder film of Andy's life. If we can get that photo, that would be great.
Well, my lovely
reaching
wife.
out to our Albany-related listeners who happen to go to elementary school with Andy.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's going to be any listening, but
Paul,
we're on YouTube now, Andy. Viewership is going to just jump.
Paul, we did talk about you being sort of a simply red sort of motif hair. What about you? What was your worst haircut?
It depends on whose point of view. I didn't think it was my worst haircut, but my mom certainly did. I did the Brian Bosworth stripes on the side.
No, you didn't.
The white walls, yeah, with the painted stripes in it right here. It was both sides. It was very nice.
Andy, if you send me that picture, I will promise to show my picture of me and the hair and beard from when I was 23 that you've all seen. I'll throw that to our listeners. Is that a fair trade?
I don't know. You're proud of that picture though. That's the difference.
Good point. I tried earlier in the podcast to pump up my tires and ask Andy a pointed question, which he politely evaded and left my tires at least semi-inflated. But I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to start with Rodolfo. Rodolfo, what's your favorite thing about Roggie?
Whoa.
So many, I know.
Yeah. I just have to say one.
I was just going to say all three pass.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. You go ahead, Paul.
It is 100% your positivity. And if I'm having a bad moment, bad day, whatever it is, your positivity is inspirational, especially with the things you've gone through. And it's something that I look to when I need it. And we'll start a conversation with you about nothing just to feel like maybe not whatever is bothering me, but whatever. You will turn that around just by being yourself, which I think is the best part about it. So thank you for that. More than you know.
Appreciate you saying that. Funnily enough, that's the thing Andy hates most about me. Andy, what do you like about Roggie?
And initially you would think my description is going to mean that because you're Canadian, but it's not. It's your genuine kindness and your compassion are second to none, and you genuinely are a good person, Roger.
Oh, goodness. Oh, thank you so much. Dolph, by the way, I'm quitting the podcast after this one. You guys are taking over. So, Dolph.
Dolph's like, brings me fruit.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, your heart, definitely. You have a big heart. You're a great friend. I mean, that's about it. You're always there.
Pop-Tarts.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, goodness. So
there's a difference between having a big heart and an enlarged heart. Roger has an enlarged heart.
Okay.
I did send Gilliard a countdown. This year I paced myself. Of the Pop-Tarts he sent me that arrived at camp, for us, I had 32 within 4 days after camp. Now I'm off it again. So
wow.
It's over.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I thought this next, and by the way, thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for that kindness. It's always nice to hear, even if you have to drag it kicking and screaming from Andy. So I thought with July 4th coming up, and again, the fact that we've added an American to the podcast, Canada and Mexico have spoken. We understand your greatness. We appreciate it. We'd like you to leave us to still be our own separate entities, but we love you and we think you're the greatest country on earth. And to that end, we have now developed a segment here for this time in honor of July 4th coming up, which we don't have a podcast beforehand, a tribute to America, the personal Mount Rushmore of great Americans. If you had to pick 4 Americans of all time and put on Mount Rushmore, what would they be? Dolph, where would you start?
Whoa.
I'm going to make notes here because I want to see if we have any similar.
Okay. Great Americans. I would say they're all going to be musicians. I'm sorry, but it's going to be.
That's your choice.
Chuck Berry.
Okay.
Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
Buddy Holly. And I'll throw in a football player, my favorite one, Joe Montana.
Solid.
Wait, you bet.
Does an American want to go next, or do you want me to go before an American?
I'll go. I'm ready for this.
Thank you.
We do have a crossover here. I eliminated anyone who's actually on Mount Rushmore from being part of this game. I have Bruce Springsteen on as well. Ronald Reagan, Mark Twain, and Jerry Seinfeld are my 4.
All right.
But I have to admit something to my Canadian friends here. I wanted a comedian who best captured America, and I thought America may be the best at producing parodies. So originally I had Leslie Nielsen on my list, only to discover that he was a Canadian.
But he's Canadian, yeah.
Yeah.
When we get to the Canadian Mount, whatever burning mountain
we will.
Rushmore is, I'll keep that one in mind.
We will. I will go next, Andy. And I'm going to lead back now to, if you recall, my original broadcasting style tonight. This person is my 4th. And I'm being a bit silly about it, but honestly, I've discovered this fellow recently, and he really should be on your Mount Rushmore, at least of whatever genre he's in. But my first 3, FDR. He saved the world. Him and Churchill together. Andy, I know you don't like working with the UK, but if not for FDR, we'd be in a different space. So I am a huge FDR fan. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, the absolute coolest American ever. 3rd, Snoopy.
Yeah.
And then this guy, and you sort of know with the fact that on my Canadian Mount Rushmore is the littlest hobo. This guy might be your littlest hobo. He captures everything about you. He's got a style. He's got a grace. Within minutes, he's the best of your country and the worst of your country. But I'm nominating Joey Greco, the host of the TV show Cheaters. Oh my God. He was something else. So I have seen, I think, every episode of Cheaters since I've come back from camp on YouTube, and that's a plug to YouTube. And my God, is Joey just the coolest and the worst cat at the same time? So if you have nothing to do on a rainy day, please research Joey Greco, who now is a real estate agent in Dallas, who's there for your real estate needs if you need. But please check out Joey Greco. Andy?
I'm going to go Lou Holtz, because to me he is the greatest American ever. General Norman Schwarzkopf. I don't want to steal one of Paul's. I was going to say Ronald Reagan, and for earlier podcast listeners may recall that as a young lad, I had a real affinity for Colonel Oliver North for some reason.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I had a poster of him up in my dorm room.
I actually wrote him a letter, and he wrote me back. It was an amazing time for me.
Do you still have that letter?
I do not. I wish I did, though.
That would be awesome.
My last. There's just so many. There's so many wonderful Americans. I'm going to go with Clint Eastwood.
I'm surprised you didn't go George S. Patton or MacArthur too, along with Schwarzkopf. And
Did you like? Did I recently use the George Patton meme in our
I
text
think
group?
I
Yes, I
think you
believe.
did.
I think I
Yes,
did.
yes.
Yes, you did.
Good.
One of my favorite lines from Les Nessman, one of the great Americans from WKRP, and he was talking about the changing times and sort of not and censorship in the media, and he sort of said, one of my heroes. I have two heroes. One is Woodrow Wilson, not Woodrow, Murrow, Murrow, the broadcaster
Edward
Murrow,
R. Murrow.
and let everyone have their opinion and freedom of the press. And he's one of my heroes, and I'm sort of conflicted because I think he's right. But my other hero is General George S. Patton, who I think we should just get in tanks and drive all the liberal pinheads into the ocean. So I apologize for that way underused non sequitur there. So let's talk now. If we finished with the random questions, we're all done.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Summer plans. I will share the biggest summer plan, the headline summer plan, the exciting summer plan. I'm visiting Andy at his home in August.
Oh, yes. Oh, God.
Look at Paul's face. Oh my goodness.
I'm just picturing him on the farm with the same size people.
There's a fear that Andy says, yeah, it's in the basement, go down. And I hear the door lock behind me.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And then you realize there is no farm at all.
It's a long, elaborate plot.
Exactly.
It's never been a farm.
I play the long game, Paul. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I have to keep applying lotion.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So you don't want to get the hose again. You don't want to get the hose.
Looking forward to that, Andy. Have you alerted the family that I'm coming?
I don't think so. I haven't. It's so far away in my world that it hasn't even come up yet.
How many nights do you think are too many?
Raj, you're more than welcome to stay as many as you want. I think you'll find that you'll be ready to leave quicker than you think.
Anyone else have any summer plans? I know Paul.
Andy's not even taking any time off work. He's just going to be at work while you're
Oh
there.
no, he's not. I have a list of chores to do on the farm. Paul, what about you? Any plans this summer?
No, not really. I mean, I'm some golf outings, a couple things here and there. Like I told you guys earlier, I just got back from Notre Dame. My daughter did a science camp, so I was up there all week doing some stuff in the condo, meeting with some people, hung out with Bass and Tim in the equipment room for a day, and they were prepping. The next day, Fighting Irish Media was filming all of the scoreboard. Hey, I can't hear you, third down kind of things, or whatever they call those video messages. So guys were all picking their outfits. It was a pretty fun day. So that was cool. So that was a good week. And then, we're rising freshmen in high school. So she's got sports from now until school starts. So we're going to be pretty busy with that kind of stuff. But we'll just hang out here, hit Cedar Point a lot. That's our thing.
Paul, when you shared that in the group chat, George literally combusted inside with what you were doing. I'm surprised he's not at your door.
Well, and that was just that I saw the recruit on the campus. There's a part of the story that I haven't shared with George yet because I don't think I have the time to deal with his questions. And I'm not going to bring it up in this forum either, but I will post it out there. There was another thing that happened when I was with Tim and Bass that I worry about. I want to make sure someone's with George, a nurse or a practitioner or some kind.
Oh, goodness. What about you, Dolph? What's the summer like in Mexico City?
Nothing really planned. I mean, we don't take a summer break down here, so it's just business as usual. The kids off school now. My daughter's going to go away for the semester. I'm pretty nervous about that because she's going to live in another continent, so that's always a tough one.
Where is she going,
Rodolfo? To Madrid, Spain.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's exciting. I mean, I understand the nervousness too, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I know. It'll be a good experience for her.
How long is she there for?
She's going to be from August to December.
Another thing, Andy, another great lesson from camp. One of my favorite things from camp is learning Gerald Knight, coach, has learned AI. His work is just stellar. His chat GPT AIs are just phenomenal. I don't want to go
I
too
tend to
down.
disagree because I am the subject matter of
Yeah,
most.
absolutely. You have to learn AI, Paul.
I know. I really like almost as a defense. Like this is a Star Wars.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, I gotta.
You have to get on the ship now.
I know.
I did receive a note from Mike Kremen who said, after I sent him like I think the 5th AI of the day that I share with the group, and he said, "Now my God, people think that this is going to be used for evil." To which I said, "Ask Andy. Andy is pretty in the camp that it is being used for evil."
Yes.
But, Andy, what about you? What's any plans this summer other than normal Fowler life?
No, my wife and kids and my mother-in-law are going to Disney in July. I am not, so nothing special for me.
What are you doing while they're gone?
They're just going to work,
Okay,
taking care of the dog
got it. And the farm.
and the farm.
That's too bad. That's too bad because my trip is planned for August when, as I said, why. But if I came down on the week that you're off, boy, we could get into some mischief.
Oh boy, we'd have a heck of a time.
Wow. You two, loose in Albany. Whoa.
Oh goodness. Well, my summer plans, favorite time of the year to be around here. I think we have a golf outing or two planned, but nothing of note. Staying here with the dogs and the pool, and the best time of the year is to be at home here. So no travel coming up, other than to visit Andy and a golf trip I have planned with Paul and the two Matts. Andy, I know you don't golf, but as I said, you're willing, if you're wishing, it's not far from Albany to Buffalo. If you want to come up and hang with us, and help me.
I'm good. It's under consideration.
Nothing
Okay.
like pressuring them on a live podcast. Yeah, you want to come out and hang out with all the cool guys, Andy? Come on.
So it's there if you wish, Andy. We have promised though that the Airbnb this time will not have a burnt out Mustang in front of it, which has been brought to my attention several times.
That's such a shame. Yeah, that's such a shame.
Yeah.
He's considering it, as we like to say.
How soon do they forget the yachts in the backyard, and they remember the Mustang? But I promise to do better next time.
I didn't see the Jet, so I'll keep the Mustang.
Well, the new format's great, outstanding. I want to thank we have a producer, someone behind the scenes, and Rodolfo, I promised you I wouldn't ruin his name too much, but thank you very much to our producer, Beto Villanueva. And when this shows up on YouTube, please share, subscribe, and like, and please get your friends to come enjoy this fun, because if you think we're silly now when we have no listeners or viewers, if we get up to like 100, oh goodness, mayhem will ensue, and the macho tips of the day will only get better. So
That's the selling point, that's for sure. That was lavender and macho. I mean, you can't separate them.
Yeah, exactly.
And Andy, I know that the contract rider we had with you, the addendum, said we were only allowed to refer to Paul a few times, his joining in, but I'm going to maybe breach our contract. But Paul, it's so glad to have you. It's officially the fourth Domer, and part of this. It feels natural. It feels great, and we're excited to go forward as a foursome.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Welcome, Paul.
I'm glad we were able to avoid the hostile takeover, and you guys just invited me on. So it was going to happen one way or another. So, yeah.
The way the real world is going to work. So we thought we'd just get ahead of it. So
just like the
Right,
Golden Dome.
And the real world is that America now makes up 50% of your life, right? So
we're okay with it as long as I get access to the yogurt and camp. I'll be fine. So.
And the Golden Dome.
Exactly.
yes. Which I don't know if you've been watching the news lately, but you might want to answer a little quicker than later about that Golden Dome.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, give them time. They're considering it.
Thanks, Paul. And on that note, thanks, Paul. On that note, I'll call us to an end and wish everyone farewell. Great to see everyone again. Thanks for doing this. We will likely be back a couple weeks before the first game for the season preview, and wish everyone a great summer. And as always, guys, love you and go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Take care, guys.
So,
Take care of yourself.